bigger issue is the left and their ability or their desire to engage with anyone who's not already in the bubble. And they get a big fat D- on that.
I couldn't agree more.
Right. I mean, you see Kamala. I mean, I'm glad she's doing well. I'm glad we have a real fight now for president. But doesn't talk to the press, would never go near me. And when you won't go near the people who are going to vote for you, I'm going to vote for you. Do I have to love everything? No, I don't. It just shows they're afraid. And you're right. I see it so much.
Well, hold on. I don't. Okay, you know what? I don't see her. Well, there's no reason for her to go on your show before the election, but I can actually see her.
Yes, there is. Because I speak to the exact voter she needs, the person who is in the middle, the person who is not ideologically captured by either side. Now, there are some who are that, and everyone is welcome. I need a bigger audience all the time. I'm greedy that way. But basically, that's exactly the audience she needs. The MSNBC crowd is already voting for her. People who watch me, who will decide, this election will probably be decided in like 4 states by something like 80,000 votes in each. That's how these elections, how close they are these days. And that's where we're back to. We're at least back to normal, which sucked, but it is normal that it's 50-50 going into the election. With Biden, it wouldn't have been.
Let me ask you about this, though. Okay, look, there's nothing you said that isn't right, all right? And there's definitely nothing you said that isn't right in a normal election cycle. I mean, it's irrefutably right in a normal election cycle where you have a year to set your case. I think they're just all about winning the fucking election, all right? And then the easiest path to winning the election, look, you can talk about maybe she should have had more guts about this or that and the other, but we're the fucking president.
Right.
And Trump's not the president, and we're the fucking president, and now it's going to be about this. But this is about fucking winning. What most people don't give the Democrats enough credit for, all right, but we give the Republicans credit for. It's like, no, sometimes it's just about fucking winning. And it doesn't matter how we look at this moment. It's about fucking winning.
Right.
This is about fucking winning.
Yep. No, it is.
It's a mad fucking dash, and she is running, and she's not stopping to stumble.
And you know what?
And there's nothing wrong with stopping this. I'm going to vote for her fucking anyway, no matter what she says in a stupid fucking interview.
Exactly.
So don't fuck shit up.
They're cracking up, folks. You see? They're cracking up. Over the past couple of days, several leftist allies have come out to say they want to hear more from Kamala. Remember Drew Barrymore called Kamala Harris Kamala? Yeah. It's no longer good enough for Kamala Harris to read words written by who knows who from a teleprompter. It's not good enough for her to do pre-taped interviews. She needs to explain herself. Will she finally answer questions? She needs to be called Vice Teleprompter. Kamala Prompter should be her name. If she's elected like this, we might as well McDonald's the presidency and make it automated because humans are no longer needed. We will have a self-checkout presidency, people. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard's endorsement and more next. What's up, everybody? It's Monday, and it's time for Pop in Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. And my goodness, there's a lot to discuss. I'm KJ, along with my amazing co-host. Of course, we have Shelly E. And it's Monday, and you know what Mondays mean? We have Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance with us tonight. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good. Good. I am excited to chat with you guys. As I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble or listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Guys, we are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way to helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand we are living in urgent times. As you can see, you see what they're cracking up. Tarantino is voting for Kamala Harris by any means necessary. As you can see, they are cracking up. We're living in urgent times. There's a target on our backs because we choose freedom. But we must continue to stand. Let's stand together. Subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, everybody, let's set it off. We are starting out tonight. We have a special guest with us. Tonight, we have Gina Rupert. She is the director of the Center for Pregnancy Concerns right here in Baltimore, and will be with us for the first couple of minutes in the beginning of the show tonight. Gina, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. This is such an important issue, not talked about enough in Baltimore and throughout the country. Can you just introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are and what you do at the Pregnancy Center?
Sure. I've been the executive director at the Greater Baltimore Center for Pregnancy Concerns for the past about 5 years. Our center has been serving Baltimore City since 1980. So we've been in the city for 44 years helping women. We run a medical center right next to Planned Parenthood on Howard Street. We share a wall with Planned Parenthood right on Howard Street in Baltimore City. That center location opened during the pandemic in 2020 when we were gifted a dilapidated building to renovate so that women can have real choices in Baltimore, real choices. So we are providing more options for women who find themselves in a difficult circumstance, a crisis pregnancy, or find themselves alone and pregnant. We're offering them additional choices right there next to Planned Parenthood.
All right. Excellent. Shelly, I know you have some questions here.
Yeah. Hi, Gina. Thanks for coming. I just want to say, of course, this is a center that's near and dear to my heart. And I've mentioned on the show several times, I volunteer there. And I think I told you, I still call it the Crisis Pregnancy Center, which is what it was called, I don't know, 20-something years ago. But nevertheless, I want you to tell our guests, I don't want to make this into a political, a political focus necessarily, but I want you to tell our guests what you do for women who find themselves in an unplanned pregnancy, because I want to give our guests the to help them maybe change the image that yes, we do have people out here in the streets, as our vice president likes to say, who are actually doing, quote unquote, doing the work.
Yeah, so we see women of all childbearing age. So let's put it out there. We see as young as 12 and women all through childbearing age of all races, all demographics, all politics, all faith. Our mission at our center is to educate and empower so that women have the freedom to embrace life. So when a woman comes into our center, usually I have several children. I've been pregnant several times. I never found myself in a crisis pregnancy center. So the women who are coming to the center usually have a barrier to care. They have a barrier that's preventing them from getting to their own doctor, or maybe they don't have a doctor, or maybe they don't have the support they need for their pregnancy. So we operate free of charge. All of our services are free to our clients. You do not need insurance. You do not need identification to come into our center. You can come in, you will meet with a nurse, a registered nurse. a registered diagnostic medical sonographer, and an advocate who will work with you to get you the information that you're seeking regarding your personal situation. So our nurse is going to administer a pregnancy test, confirm an in utero viable pregnancy for you, then send you to our sonographer who will do a sonogram to confirm that your pregnancy is viable. We'll give you your dating, how far along you are. We'll give you all of the information you need. We will answer questions regarding abortion, types of abortion, the risks associated with abortion. We give information regarding pregnancy, parenting, and adoption. We give women all the information that they need to make an educated and informed choice. We are a Christian nonprofit. We receive no government funding. All of the donations that we receive come from individuals, Christians, some churches, some area churches, some Christian businesses, some conservative groups that believe that women deserve the information with no strings attached. So we are not selling anything. We make no profit off their choice. We want them to have all the information they deserve, personal to them and their situation before making a choice.
Gina, I do want to, I'm sorry, Kate, I want to clarify something, Dean. I want you to make our audience understand, because when you said, we give them information on abortion, I want you to make sure you tell them the center does not perform or advise for abortion.
We do not provide abortion. We do not advocate for abortion, but the women coming to our center are considering abortion. And it is important for them to have information about abortion presented to them in a non-biased, educational, medical way. So our nurse is answering questions. People have no idea what they're getting into. People are being told they can take a pill to get their period back. They're being marketed as missed period pills. Oh, you missed your period, take this pill and get your period back. Well, let me talk to you about the abortion pill. Come in and talk to my nurse about the abortion pill and the risks associated with taking that pill, especially if you don't know how far along you are in your pregnancy. It's not safe to take beyond 10 weeks. Have you had your pregnancy confirmed? Do you know you have a viable pregnancy? Women deserve that information.
Now, I have two questions. Firstly, I do hear a lot of, not a lot, but some women, they'll say, Planned Parenthood does more than abortions. And they do these things, they counsel women and things like this. Can you provide, what's the difference between what you all do at the Center for Pregnancy Concerns or in other pregnancy centers versus what Planned Parenthoods do?
Number one, we don't charge a fee. So it's free. We're not making any profit off of your decision. We are offering you life-affirming information and choices. I've been there for 5 years. We've served close to 1,000 women a year. So I have heard just about everything, reasons why a woman feels that abortion is her only choice. We work with people who've been trafficked. We work with people who are abused, domestic violence, people in addiction, people who are homeless, you name it. It's usually not just being pregnant that's the crisis. It usually goes hand in hand with other issues. So what we try to do is help them address those issues. And would your choice be the same if you had health insurance? Would your choice be the same if you had a place to live? Would your choice be the same if you had support? Consider those things and then lead them to those partner organizations that we have all over Baltimore City, Safe Families, WIC. You get them nutrition, get them into Maryland Health Connect. You can get insurance if you're pregnant in the state of Maryland. If you're a woman, you don't have insurance, you can get insurance. That's a big barrier for some people. So what we do is try to present to them all the opportunities that a woman has that she might not know about. We have churches that have groups for single moms, teen moms. We work with maternity homes. I mean, we work with anyone who's helping pregnant women.
All right. Is there anything that you would like to tell our audience, anything that we can do to assist you, to support what you all do there?
Well, since we receive no government funding, like I said, we rely solely on donations from churches and individuals. Checking out our website, donating, supporting our upcoming gala. We have a wonderful speaker September 12th at the Towson Sheraton. There's information on our website. You can learn more about our organization and come and support us. I wanted to say that I think Shelley wanted me to talk about demographics, and the demographic of the women we serve, aside from being childbearing age. About 45% of the women at our center that we see are African American, and about 45% are Hispanic. And we have full-time Spanish-speaking advocates who work with these women. Maryland is an abortion destination state. We have no restrictions or gestational limits on abortion. You can have an abortion at any time. Women are coming to Maryland specifically for abortion from other states. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking women who are migrants. We're also a destination, a sanctuary city. So we have a lot of women who've just crossed the border, find themselves pregnant. Would you like to be pregnant in a new country with no insurance and no help, and you don't speak the language? We know that those women are being targeted for abortion, and we're trying to give them a voice and give them help. They deserve it.
I have one last question. Gina, do you still have Hannah's Cupboard there?
So you know what, we modernized a little bit after COVID. We do provide assistance. So we have some parenting education classes. They're online that our women take if they choose. We have those classes in both English and Spanish. And when they graduate after 10 classes, they get a baby shower in a box right from Amazon. So they get to choose what they
so
would
I just
like.
want to ask, do you still give the donations? I mean, not the donate. Do you still give the material handouts to the women who come free of charge?
So we don't have a Hannah's Cupboard with the material handouts collected. We do give a baby shower in a box, which is brand new items to the women who graduate from the education courses. However, we do partner with the community resources in Baltimore City that do supply resources for women of that nature. We've got a long list of places that we partner with. We don't have the room for it in our new medical center. And we also found that what women really need is that medical information and to be able to talk to a professional medical nurse and a professional medical RDMS, and the people who are really good at helping the women with the other areas like material assistance, we refer them to them.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Gina. We really appreciate it. We will link your information with this broadcast for people who want to donate, who want to assist in any way they can. You have the gala coming up. You guys are doing amazing work there. So many people across Baltimore and beyond, I guess, like you mentioned, people coming in from the border and other states. So definitely, thank you.
We've served women from 21 different states and 23 different countries.
Wow.
We really, we'd love to have support, and I appreciate you guys having me on. And I just want to add, we are the only pro-life pregnancy center in Baltimore City. So we're serving the whole city by ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gina.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right.
Good night.
All right. Well, we will definitely have to have Gina back on to discuss more about just some of the demographic concerns that she mentioned that we have here in Baltimore City. This is a very important issue, and something like you mentioned, Shelley, we always get from the left, they say, conservatives, Republicans, they don't care about these kids. They don't care about these babies. We just want to stop abortion, but we don't care once the children are born. And this tells you differently.
Yep.
All right. So we're moving right along to the race, the election, the presidential election coming up. So the race is extremely close based on national polling. Right now, in the Real Clear Politics polling, Kamala Harris has a 1.5 point lead nationally. Trump basically has to win North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and then one of either Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, or Michigan to win this race. Swing state polls are at a dead heat. But now several on the left want to hear her answer questions. People are tired of Kamala Harris running from the press. She has not sat down for a media interview or held a single news conference of significance since she became the Democrats' de facto nominee. We're looking at since July 23rd, 37 days. As you guys saw at the top of the show, we had Bill Maher and Quentin Tarantino discussing it. Now, you saw Quentin Tarantino kind of became unhinged. But Bill Maher is saying she needs to answer questions. Here he is again talking to CNN's Caitlin Collins. This is clip number 2.
What do you think about the fact that Kamala doesn't talk to the press? In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. Now, Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. But she's kind of saying I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump did. I mean, I covered him in the White House every day as a correspondent, and oftentimes to kind of shake you if you were asking him a question, he would try to get into a personal argument with you, or just deny or lie about what you were asking about. And so I don't know if I would compare the two.
You wouldn't compare the two. Shelly, I want to start off with you with that. I mean, so you see what she's trying to do. That didn't make any sense to me. He answers the questions. He's at least makes himself available. What are your thoughts?
First of all, Kamala Harris has gone longer without giving an interview than most women have go without a period every month. She's gone 37 days. Most women have a period within about 30 days, give or take. So, do the math. That's number one. Look, I don't even know how she got to Trump denigrating the press as a group, if you will, which is their job. They're supposed to be adversarial to the politicians and the bureaucrats in the government. So that's built in to be a part of the press. Then rather than Kamala Harris basically, again, thumbing up her nose and giving us the finger to the American public. And I don't think that they are necessarily just clamoring for her to go and do interviews. I think there's some numbers behind the numbers that are showing that after this little honeymoon period, she is not able to even give a coherent speech or substantive speech on anything. That's what I think is happening. And they see the numbers. The numbers always lag. The polls always lag. So I think that's what they're seeing.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Tyrone. Before I do want to acknowledge our super chatter here tonight. Guys, thank you so much. Damien, thank you.
Damien.
Says vote. It's very important. Yes, indeed. Every vote will count, or hopefully will count. We need all the votes, all of them. So definitely get out there, spread the word. Vote, vote, vote. Tyrone, what do you think on that exchange with Caitlin Collins?
I'll go back a little bit to Quentin Tarantino and Bill Maher. Malcolm X warned about comedians and entertainers of all stripes being elevated to where their political opinions matter more than the rest of us. Okay. As you guys know, I think I've discussed it many times with this audience as well as the Soldiers of Finance audience. I haven't watched news. I don't even have cable. This thing is so obviously a propaganda industry. Okay. You look at what happened with RFK. Okay. The instant he said military industrial complex in his speech, they cut away from him. Okay. So these government mouthpieces like Caitlin, Kyle, whatever her name is, I don't know, Wolf Blitzer, all of these government mouthpieces, like you said, they see something that is causing them to warn Kamala Harris. They're not castigating her. they're warning her, listen, you got to come out and speak to the public, because the real poll numbers are a lot less friendly to her and her campaign than we're being told. Right up until the polls closed in 2016, Hillary Clinton was leading. Okay.
Yep.
And nobody saw that. Right. So I think a lot of the same thing is going on today. That's why it's important that conservatives and Republicans don't get demoralized. This Kennedy thing is going to hurt them really bad, because, now you got these competitive states that will get a portion of his votes. So the whole thing with the media, they're a joke. And when I say media, I'm not just talking about the news, but the quasi news like Bill Maher, the late shows and all that. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And as you mentioned, and someone else did in the comments, we have to vote. We have to. Don't get demoralized. Like you mentioned, get out there and vote. I still think this is going to be neck and neck. It's going to be a close race. I just think so. And I'm saying that because it's not even about the actual votes. I think that Democrats are going to cheat. They're going to pile in those ballots from any and everybody. They're going to ballot harvest. They are going to pull out, because especially since we have so much time. I mean, the ballots go out in September. Some states are voting as early as late September, I believe. So, I mean, they have a lot of time to cause mischief. And we need a heaping amount of people to go out to the polls and vote. We will. And, and as you mentioned, RFK Jr. endorsed him over was it Friday? He came out and endorsed him. And today, Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Trump. Take a look at this. This is clip number 7.
We as Americans must stand together to reject this anti-freedom culture of political retaliation and abuse of power. We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future. I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Wow. So that's a big deal. I mean, now we have Tulsi Gabbard. She ran for the presidential nomination in, was it 2020?
2020.
Yeah, 2020. She is not a Republican. And if you know her stance on many issues, I mean, she's not even conservative. I mean, she has the limited, she believes in freedom of speech and things like that, and not intervention and non-interventionist in wars and things like that. But other than that, I don't know her to be very conservative, and she's backing Trump. What are your thoughts there, Shelley?
She's what we used to call maybe a blue dog Democrat. She's the Democrat of the JFK era, the uncle and the father of RFK Jr. So this is what Democrats used to be. This is basic, if you will. I call it Americanism, if you will, 101. Limited government, right? There's a limited area where government is supposed to run or to administrate, and then get the hell out of our lives. That's it for the most part, okay? That's largely what it is. And people are tired. People are waking up, and I hope more of them do so, certainly by the time the election comes around. But the left is seething right now, which is why I have more belief that these polls that we see today, that's just the polls that were taken last week or 2 weeks ago. There is a lag. And this is what I think the left, they see more behind these polls than we'll know. We'll probably know in about 2 weeks or maybe a month or maybe November the 4th if they want to put out the real data, right? But there's more to this. They know that this candidate, as corrupt as they brought her onto the scene to take the mantle of the presidency to run, they know that they might be doing some back thinking right now.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this endorsement, Tyrone?
Well, briefly, you encourage people to get out and vote. I think on election day, also drive past your local cemetery. Make sure those people are still in there, because for whatever reason, the dead love to vote Democrat. So just drive by occasionally on election day. Make sure they're still in there. But as far as Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, think about this. The left, the Democrat Party, is actually converting people to Donald Trump. Look, Tulsi Gabbard and RFK are representative of tens of thousands of people across this nation that feel the exact same way. That whatever this is calling itself the Democrat Party has left them. They don't recognize it. They want no part of it. Tulsi Gabbard, they're retaliating against her leaving the plantation. Now, I know a lot of the viewers have seen Roots. And when Kunta Kinte ran away, they captured him, they cut his foot off, okay? So they're doing the political equivalent of that by putting Tulsi on this friendly skies list, where she has to actually, she's accompanied by like 6 or 7 government agents and a dog on every flight she gets on, okay? I don't understand how the airlines make money when she flies, because so many seats are the government, okay? So they're retaliating against her. So she sees it. Former congresswoman, officer in the United States military, and they're saying she's a terrorist threat. This is nothing but political retaliation. RFK, he knows what's going on because of how he's been treated. People see this, all right? So I don't think they're going to be the last ones that come out and say, no, this is bigger than the first Indian, Jamaican black president or whatever she calls herself this week. This is about saving the country.
Yeah, and that is I think that's the story that needs to come out more. These two people, Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., they have been targeted by our government. You know, RFK Jr. was on that Dirty Dozen list where they censored him and several other people on social media, censored their freedom of speech. Now, as you mentioned, Tulsi going through something even worse. Actually, they put her on a no-fly list, on terrorist watch list. I mean, this is actual dictatorship type of stuff. The same stuff they have been accusing Trump of with no evidence. Now you have two people who were actual examples of the authoritarianism of the left. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than this. They have been screaming and hollering that Trump is the end of the democracy and all this type of stuff. Now you have two people that have actually been examples of the left's tyrannical terror, how they are censoring us, taking away our freedom of speech. You know, all of these things, they are the examples, and they can provide proof of it.
Remember, the left always accuses their opposition of what they're actually doing. You know, projection, mirror image, whatever you want to call it, they are master manipulators at doing that. Unfortunately, their followers, their sycophants, their cohorts tend to believe it. They never step out of their bubble and have a little bit of cognitive dissonance going on. You know, that's uncomfortable to do that, to go through a cognitive dissonance process, but they never do that. So they're comfortable just, you know, taking the pablum that's fed to them. But RFK Jr., again, his family, he has a dead uncle and a father to prove some of the receipts in his closet, in his pocket.
Exactly. And it's the machine. It's the machine of the Democrat Party behind all of this. And this is why this is a very important election. Because, I mean, this machine that they are is very dangerous. Now we see with the debates, out today. I don't know if we're going to even have a debate. Not only has she not taken any interviews, not only has Kamala Harris not updated her website, we are supposed to have a debate in September, and they keep changing the goalposts. I think the last news out was now she was saying, Trump had to agree to these crazy rules when Biden was debating him. So I guess they were supposed to continue on with these same rules. Now Harris campaign is saying they don't want the mics muted. They want to have notes. I mean, it's a mess. It's a total mess.
It is. And, America is in a weird place because, look, even in 2020, America flat out rejected Kamala Harris. All right.
Yeah.
She got, you can count on one hand how many primary votes she got if that hand has 0 fingers. Because America just flat out got her off the scene before the Iowa caucus. Okay. But now we're supposed to believe that she's just widely accepted, the best thing since sliced bread. And look, the dirty little secret, the open secret is, you ever work with someone who maybe they were the boss's nephew or something like that? They didn't know the job. They didn't have the aptitude. They were terrified of ever being asked to do something substantive. That is where Kamala Harris is right now. She is terrified of a debate, of an interview even, because everything she says is delivered in an awkward manner. All right. She's socially inept. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's deep as a dime on every subject anyone's ever talked to her about. Okay. This woman has 0 substance. And here we are as a country thinking about putting this woman in charge of the world's largest economy, most powerful military, and in front of people like Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, and this is why it's really bad, is because I think, especially during Biden's presidency, we know that he wasn't able to make any decisions. He was not really running the country. Again, the machine behind him was running the country, but he was somewhat able to pretend and keep up the facade. Now we have Kamala, who is now, she has to get elected. So and they realize that this woman is so dumb, she can't even keep up the facade. She won't even be able to go in front of an interviewer, a press and things, and answer questions off the cuff. She just can't do it well. And they don't believe she can do it. That's the website. That's her website. Now they want you to give money, but they don't want to give you any substance. Donate. Yeah, that's what it is. And people are falling for this. But yeah, and this is what the person that they're able to just throw up in front of us. Again, I call her a self-checkout candidate, because if she does win, it's going to be like all of the tellers, all customer service has gone, and now we are in a self-checkout presidency. This is who we have as a president if she does win. And then is this what America wants? I know personally, when they remove tellers, when they remove customer service from the grocery stores, from the fast food places, nobody likes that. We want a real person. We want someone to explain to us the menu, or explain to us, answer our questions, not a self-checkout, not some computer. This is what we have with Kamala Harris, but it's worse because we have to sit by and listen to her cackle. At least with a self-checkout machine, you don't have to hear her cackling idiotic voice.
And
Yeah,
look,
Mhm.
go back to Hillary's famous question. It was a good question, actually. 3 a.m. phone call. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, listen, Trump gets the 3 a.m. phone call. Somebody's dying. Okay. Somewhere in the world. Okay. I'm going back to sleep. I'm good. You know, Kamala gets that 3 a.m. phone call. Look, let's not even pretend she's not even going to know where to start. Okay. There's a video of her during the 2020 campaign being interviewed by Karine Jean-Pierre before Pierre became press secretary. Okay. And they're both sitting down, and Kamala Harris has a microphone, and a guy runs up, and he doesn't even get the chance to snatch the mic. She has this terrified look on her face and hands him the mic. Okay. Karine Jean-Pierre, okay. Look, I said, hey, look, Karine Jean-Pierre is black. She looked like she was about to take the earrings off and put some Vaseline on. She goes after dude and like damn near comes to blows to get the mic back. Kamala is sitting there like a little shrinking violet. And it's like, oh no, you don't have the chops for this at all. Go back to the Senate. You remember the Senate when, you know, the events of the day after the 5th day of the first month, you remember the senators were running scared? You know, that's where you belong, Kamala, not in the Oval Office. Come on.
No way. No way. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here, guys. Thank you so much. We have here Teresa Raymundo. Thank you, Teresa. Says Tulsi is a patriot. People who have served with her love her. She speaks truth. Absolutely. Absolutely. LAPD SWAT, thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, Big Dog. Hey,
Hi,
Big Dog. Thank you. Says, my favorite conservative queens and king. Holla. It's imperative Trump wins the election. If not, our country is in big jeopardy. All sane people step up and show up. Vote up Trump 24.
That's right. That's right.
Definitely. Yep, I agree. And you know, I wanted you guys to take a look at this clip of Tom Cotton. He laid it out in this interview. I believe this was ABC News. And they're, you know, again, Kamala Harris and the Democrats have the media hook, line, and sinker. Take a look at this. This is clip 5. I'm sorry, clip 6. Clip 6.
And President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars, confiscating firearms. These are all
what do you mean taking away health insurance? What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, I mean that is not her position now. She knows.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean, she says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Okay. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that, but the last thing that she said.
But this was not a radical convention. I mean, she as you heard me go through with Bernie Sanders, she is not taking the positions of the far left of her party. She's clearly making an effort to move to the middle.
I did hear what you said to Senator Sanders, and I thought it was clear that he's very disappointed that she's taking these efforts not to change her positions, but to hide her positions, John. The American people are totally justified to conclude that Kamala Harris is a dangerous San Francisco liberal based on what she campaigned on the last time she ran for president and what this administration has done for the last 4 years. Again, you would have thought watching the Democratic convention last week that the Democrats are not in office, that they're not in power, that they're campaigning against an incumbent Republican, when in reality, she's been part of the failures of the Biden-Harris administration for 4 years. And when she campaigned for president, in her own right, she did in fact promise things like decriminalizing illegal immigration and taking away health insurance.
But that's his position she's clearly changed on, and she has said she has changed. Yes, she has.
No, she has not. John, she has not said that.
So you saw the interviewer. Is he working for the Harris campaign?
Yeah, he might as well
Yes.
be part of the debate. Yeah, he really is. Because what he should have done is had clips to refute or support whatever and let Kamala speak for herself with her own policies that she put forth. The problem, well, another problem is, again, the media are not even challenging her to this day on, hey, Kamala VP, you said this in 2020. What is your stance now? If you changed, how? Why? What's different? Or do you still support this? The American people have a right to know. Remember, one of the primary, I don't know what you call it, reasons, if you will, for the media is to be adversarial. Just like two lawyers, a defense and a prosecutor in a courtroom, it's an adversarial relationship. It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
Look,
Tyrone, what did you?
this is why pop in politics, okay, soldiers of finance, and other new media are leading. Look at what's happening with CNN. Okay, they're damn near bankrupt.
Mhm.
They don't have any top tier talent because they can't afford it. All right, these news organizations, they're on their deathbed, and rightfully so, because as you just saw him, he was nothing more than a press secretary for Kamala Harris. No proof, okay, like Shelley said, absolutely no. Remember Tim Russert used to give clips and give
Yes.
actual proof, but no, we're beyond that. The mainstream media is just in the tank for the Democrats, period. And they don't even try to hide it anymore. Anyone out there, look, I tell you who watches these news programs. I got an uncle who's like 70, okay? My mother-in-law, my father, okay? These are the people, the black baby boomers are keeping these folk alive. They need to go to Depend Undergarments. I'm sure you can get a lot of money from them once you show them your demographic. It ain't nothing but old people watching, okay? Everybody's done with these clowns.
Yeah. I mean, you heard it. First of all, you can tell he's got talking points because out of the DNC convention, the talking point was it was so moderate. It was so moderate. The convention was not, radical. They didn't push any radical agenda. It was so moderate. It was moderate because they didn't push any agenda. They didn't talk about policy. It was all fluff. Secondly, he said she's clearly changed and said it. Well, what did she say? How did she change it? Exactly what Tom Cotton said. That interviewer just bold-faced lied. He had not heard her say any change or anything like that because she has not. She has not come out and said that she's changed on any of her policies. Now, we have clips of her, of what she thinks about the economy, what she thinks about the border, what she thinks about all the crime and things like that. But it's radical left, this nonsense. And she wants to run away from now.
Right.
And so
she can run away from because they are literally hiding her. I don't think they're going to ask her because they don't want her to be in front of the camera. They don't, because she'll be unscripted, and when she's unscripted, she is a loose cannon.
Absolutely. And the one thing that she has come out and somewhat detailed is her tax plan, her economic plan. So I want to get you your response to this, Tyrone, on this whole capital gains tax increase and tax on unrealized gains. Now, I don't think a lot of people understand exactly what that is. Can you just explain what it is and what does it mean for middle class earners?
All right, so the two big things she wants to do with taxes is, one, raise the capital gains tax from around 20 to 44%. So that's federal. Ooh. Now, if you are in a state like New York or California, then that would mean your capital gains tax would be over 50%. All right, once the state adds its percentage in there. The other thing she wants to do is tax unrealized capital gains. So basically what that means is, let's say you bought a stock for $100, okay? The stock goes up to $200. So you've made $100, but you haven't sold the stock. okay, which is typically when you trigger a capital gains tax, once you actually get some money in your pocket, right? So not only does she want to hit people with the highest capital gains tax rate being 44%, but she also wants a 25% tax on unrealized gains. So you don't even have to sell that stock. What she's saying is, okay, you made $100 on that stock. So now you owe the government $25 of that 100 you made. And we know you didn't cash it in. We know you didn't touch the money. And we don't care what you have to do to get our 25%. Take a loan if you have to.
Wow.
You owe. Now, here's the other insidious part of this. So a lot of people who own lots of shares, because she says, oh, this is only for the rich. Well, that doesn't help. That makes it worse, because what the rich will then do is they will sell stocks in order to satisfy the tax. So the first person sells stock, the second person comes in to sell, but now, since some big whale sold, the share price is lower now, okay?
Right.
Because Elon Musk had to liquidate to pay 25%. And on it goes. What she's proposing would be the destruction of the investment economy, the destruction of jobs. It would just reverberate through this economy like nobody's business. And they're hiding it in the Trojan horse of, oh, it's just for the rich people. That makes it worse, because your 401k will be devastated once wealthy people start to sell all those S&P stocks in order to meet her 25% tax on unrealized capital gains.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you this, because this is what you do here. Like when I'm talking with people and they say, oh, it's only for rich people, it's only for wealthy people. Well, that's actually subjective. What does rich people mean? Are we talking about a household of 100,000 to 300,000, 300,000 or over? What's that mean? Who is going to feel this?
Anybody who has more money than the people saying that dumb stuff.
Pretty much. Well, they want to start it out. They typically target 400,000 as their magical, barometer. Okay. But I tell people this: once you let the Trojan horse into the gate, then everybody becomes fair game. Okay. So now they'll make a big deal about this, but 3 years from now, when they include a revision in a piece of legislation that now brings the definition of who's rich for these purposes, capital gains taxes, down to $100,000. Okay. So you are making 50. Okay. Your boo thing is making 50. Oh, y'all are rich now. Okay. So you're going to get hit. Surprise. All right. And you're going to H&R Block. You're not going to some big fancy, accounting firm or law firm to get this done. Right. So be careful what you wish for. All right. Now, if she wants to solve the problem, she needs to start talking about government spending. That's the issue. Okay. We can no longer afford this far-flung imperialistic military that we have. Germany and Japan, they're going to be okay. And if they're not, hey, we're right around the corner. Okay. All of this largesse that we've been spending on for the past 75 years, it's in the empire stage, 35 trillion in debt. We got to slow down.
Yeah. That it's scary stuff, especially the sticking point that you made that I want to emphasize is to open the Trojan horse that opens the gate. And like you mentioned, so once they figure out, or if this goes through, and let's say it does affect 400,000 earned year earners or higher, then as you mentioned, in 3 years or so, they'll lower it down when they're not making the money that they want to make, because they have all these illegals coming in and all these social programs that just always goes up and up. And I guess they're trying to pay for all of these programs. So
All
they're
these
never gonna have
they're trying to
enough.
pay for entitlements, their cronies, the lobbyists, whatever. But that principle that Tyrone said, that principle is something that I caution many people to think about, because 9 times out of 10, when the government, or as my grandmother would call it, the government makes a law, just because it sounds good, because you think it's in your favor, you don't. What happens when it changes? And it's on the other side. We can go back and forth because I like something, or I want it to benefit me at this moment. We have to think about the bigger picture, how these trickle down effects. The government, if you will, does not give up its power and control. It expands it continuously, nonstop, and it just grows and grows and grows in almost virtually any area.
Yeah.
And look, this is the other thing people need to keep in mind. If you just flat out confiscated the wealth, all of it, of the 1%, okay? Now, I don't know about anybody else. I've never gotten a job from a poor person, but let's go ahead and confiscate all of the wealth from the 1%. You could run this government for about a quarter, maybe, okay? So where is the money? The money is not with the 1% who have armies of accountants and lawyers to comb through the thousands of pages of tax code and protect them. Okay. Go ahead, implement this. You will see money move overseas. Okay. But the money, the real money, is with the middle class. Why? Because the middle class, by and large, is composed of people who work W-2 jobs. That is a classification that has the least amount of flexibility in terms of deductions and credits and that sort of thing, loss carry forwards. You don't find that in the W-2 world, okay? So that's the place that is targeted. Government knows this. They can't come out and say it, so they'll demonize the rich, and then the next step is to hit the middle class up, because H&R Block, I hate to pick on them, but they're not going to, there's nothing they can do. I mean, you're in the W-2 world, okay?
Right.
That is designed to be the most onerous and burdensome tax category.
Right. And add to that, Tyrone, the middle class, again, as a function of the productivity of the economy or of a group of people, they tend to be the ones who are, like you said, they're working. It's more of them because the 1% doesn't outnumber the middle class. So there's more of them impacting the economy. They tend to have, families, children so they're going to be working, trying to save, trying to pay their bills, the education. Like you said, their 401ks, they're trying to save for the future. Their 401ks are going to be devastated.
Now, let me ask you this, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I just want to make sure I understand this. So when they talk about this capital gains and things, are they also is this just on income made, or is it also taking in consideration your assets? Because let's say you're some.
Go ahead.
So yeah, let's say you don't make, as far as in income, more than $400,000, but let's say you have, as far as assets, more than $400,000. Then how does that, because some people own property and things like that. How
of
it measured?
Yeah, pretty much. They want to. It's not an income tax. Okay. Again, they're going to stick people on the W-2 side with that. They already got that covered. This will be a tax, because this is one of the things that we advocate in my financial services practice. We say, look, if you can help it, try not to sell assets, okay, for a variety of reasons. Number one, favorable tax treatment, but also there are certain configurations. Now, I'm not giving financial advice, but there are certain financial configurations where you can just take income from the asset, okay, borrow against the value of the asset, but maintain the asset, okay. So that's a scenario that works for some people. What the government is saying, since loan proceeds are tax exempt in most cases, and these people are basically taking loans from themselves. We got to figure out another way to get the money. Okay.
Wow.
And this capital gains, regime that she is talking about instituting, and they've been talking about this for a long time. They want to do this. That's what they want to roll to next. And all it takes is some country to come out here and say, hey, bring your money over here. We'll tax you. We'll go back to the 20%. Okay. Bring your money over here with us. I wouldn't be surprised if Russia did it.
Yeah, because you have people. They talk about the American dream is as far as owning properties, buying homes and things like that. You have people, little investors out here, not making a whole ton of money, but may have purchased multiple properties, and it may be well over $400,000 or something like that. And then, my God, that's scary. That's having to pay this tax on that. Wow.
It's confiscatory.
Well, yeah. And that affects middle class, because you are still middle class, but maybe you are rehabbing houses or you're owning properties and things like that. So that's a major issue. That's a major issue there. So, guys, again, this is Tyrone. If you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? You can find him on Soldiers of Finance. That's his YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe. Don't leave this broadcast yet, but after we finish here, run over to Soldiers of Finance and hit that subscribe button, because he's so much knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. So I want to move on, guys, to today. Was actually, it commemorated the, 4 years?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, the terrible Afghanistan withdrawal. So Trump laid wreaths at Arlington National Cemetery in honor of the 13 American service members who were killed. It was August 26th of 2021. Again, a suicide bombing at Hamid Karzai International Airport. Awful, awful, awful day. Take a look. This is Trump at Arlington Cemetery, clip 4.
Treason! Out! Order!
Wow. So again, he did commemorate today for that terrible withdrawal. He also, actually, for the first time ever, Kamala Harris broke silence and mentioned, she put out a release. She did not, her or Biden did not attend the memorial service, but they did release a statement. Says 3 years ago today, outside of Kabul airport, an ISIS terrorist killed 13 American service members and more than 100 innocent Afghans and wounded many more. And she sent her condolences. Trump also released a statement, said this is the 3rd anniversary of the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He posted this on Truth Social. Gross incompetence, 13 dead American soldiers, hundreds of people wounded and dead, Americans, and billions of dollars of military equipment left behind. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this? I personally, and there is a lot to say about this Biden-Harris administration. This has got to be one of the most stunning, this awful incidents while they were in office.
Right. So remember a couple months ago, I think it was, that the Biden even said that there were no service members who died on his watch under his administration. So he didn't even acknowledge these 13 servicemen who lost their lives, number one. Number two, they try to blame it on Trump. Well, Trump had talked about moving out the Afghan operation, but who actually did it on his watch under Biden's administration? It's interesting because when he came into office, he got rid of all Trump policies. Trump's policies, they were anathema. They couldn't stand on those. But this particular one, he kept. And then he tried to blame it on Trump. The third thing I say is, again, neither one of them was at that ceremony. Where is Waldo? Who's running our country? I mean, if she's out campaigning and not really talking about policy, he's somewhere, maybe on some dementia medication, sundowning. Who's actually running our country? I mean, our military gets the finger, just like the American people get it from them. They are pitiful. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're not even trying to keep up the pretense of actually supporting our military anymore. It's all hands off everything. And these are the people. They are showing us who they really are.
Yeah. Tyrone, what are your thoughts on this? They didn't show up.
That's the story of this administration. 2,459 servicemen and women, including these 13, are how many died in Afghanistan? U.S. service personnel. We spent a literal generation there. Okay. 2 decades. For what? We just wasted 2,459 lives. And it's not even like we left them in the same position we found them in.
Nope.
We left them in a better position. We actually elevated Afghanistan from sandals and curved knives to a modern military. Okay. They were running around with 30-year-old AKs. We left them all kinds of equipment, weaponry, some of which you're seeing show up in conflicts around the world now because they're selling it. Okay. It's mind blowing. And this was one of Biden's first acts, was a disaster, which he compounded by having the audacity to look at his watch when some of these bodies were coming back from Afghanistan. Okay. It's just beyond the pale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
I'm not sure we had the clip, but remember when one of the service members' moms or the parents, the grief-stricken parents, when he met with them, he starts talking about his son who did not die in Iraq or Afghanistan. But it's interesting because it shows to me the callousness of many people mistakenly, or they just don't understand when you're dealing with a grief-stricken, particularly a grief-stricken parent. The last thing you do, if ever, is make the conversation about you. You just don't do that. You're there to comfort, to listen, to show compassion. You don't do that, and you certainly don't compound the lie about, well, make it about yourself, and then add a lie that your son died in some war-torn area. I mean, it's just despicable. These people have zero shame. They, my grandmother would say they have no class, right? That's what my grandmother would say. But they are mean. They are mean.
They're evil.
Yeah.
Evil. They're evil. As we mentioned multiple times on this show, they are a death cult. Mm-hmm. They are a death cult. And they don't care about these lives. Mm-hmm. They don't care. If it doesn't suit them, if it doesn't push their narrative, they don't give a damn about these poor soldiers that lost their lives. I mean, I still remember the video of different things, people running after the planes as they took off at this airport.
Yeah.
And then they still try to blame it on Trump.
And that was poignant because that again illustrated how long we'd been there. There were people that didn't know anything. You could have had a 24-year-old who was, a little baby when we first came. Okay, so they didn't know anything but us and the occupation. Right. And then one day we just literally decided to get up and leave. And it was like a light switch. The treatment of women and girls just reversed. Okay, they've even got a new law that they just instituted over there that said now it's illegal for women to look at a man. Okay. Wow. This is extremely repressive. And look, I'm not saying that we're going to change, these long-standing customs, but Colin Powell said, if we break it, we buy it. Okay. And we broke it, and then we ran out of the store.
Yeah.
It was like a hit and run where the person just drives off. They just drive off.
Yeah. And yet another incident, another catastrophe under this administration. I want to ask you all, and this is for the audience as well, because I like you all to chime in if you could in the comments. What do you feel is the most important issue facing the U.S. right now, and how has that shaped how you're voting in this election? We all, I know many people have multiple issues that's driving you to the polls, that's driving you to vote for Donald Trump, or maybe you are voting still for Kamala Harris. But I'm curious to know what would be that issue. Shelley, what is an issue that's facing the U.S. right now that is your driving force for voting for Trump in this election?
If I had to sum up a few categories, I would sum it up as the sovereignty of the United States of America. Now, under that title, under that class, if you will, there's free speech. There's our Constitution, there are our borders, and legal immigration. So I'm putting it under the sovereignty because the Democrats, the left, they literally want our country to be something other than what it is and what it was founded to be. So I'm saying, again, classifying it all under the sovereignty of the United States as an independent, functional republic, constitutional republic, that we have the right to protect our borders, our people, maintain our economy. All of those things for me, again, fall under that broad category of the sovereignty of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyrone, what about you? What do you feel is the most important issue facing the U.S. that's driving you to vote for Trump?
Well, I would have to say, and there are many, but the recognition that the government is of, for, and by the people. Okay, we have definitely lost sight of that. And I'll say we in terms of the government has lost sight of that. We've got government officials, local, state, and federal, who believe they've been elected to rule. Okay. These people think they are here to rule. And it's one of the reasons why they want to get our guns out of our hand, which is never going to happen. But we really, and this is why I like Trump, okay? Because Trump and even RFK, okay, with what he did this past week, have shown that they respect we the people.
Absolutely.
Nothing else. If we don't have a government that respects us as citizens, then everything else will fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Both. I see people commenting, and everyone's just. Most people are saying, economy. Some people are saying what you all said, constitutional rights. Some people are saying, private property, freedom, again, Christian protection of rights. And I see some people are saying the border.
Yep.
There's so much at stake in this election. It really is. This is a turning point. I believe this will be a turning point for the country. For me, it will be the border. It's the border because it encompasses so many things. It's not only for the crime, the drugs, the trafficking, human trafficking that's coming across the border. That's causing, of course, major issues. But then it's just the way our country, just changing our country on its face, because they are literally trying to bring in these people to rig the election. I think that's a major. It keeps coming to my mind, with the whole scamdemic and COVID and how it's pushed, election month versus election day. Now we're mailing in our ballots and things like that. It sounds like a huge scam that has been planned for a very long time. And the one thing they need to continue that is the open border. So that's probably my number one issue for voting for Trump. It's clear as day that Kamala Harris and the Democrats want an open border. And that's my number one issue. I mean, look what's happening in New York City right now. So not sure if you guys have been reading the news. Stabbings across the city have spiked 6%. They have I think it was 3,582 incidents through August 11th. That's up from 3,370 during the same period last year. So, and when you think about it, that's a third world issue.
Yes, it is.
Knives, knifing people and things like that. And sure enough, the New York Post is reporting that this is basically due to illegal immigration.
Yeah.
So
Germany and the UK are having that same problem with the stabbings.
Yeah, it's due to the surge at the borders. So again, the stabbing surge is due, it says here, to dramatic rise in juvenile and gang crimes, unpredictable, emotionally disturbed individuals roaming the streets, and on an influx of migrants who engage in disorderly conduct, robberies, and pop-up disputes.
Yep.
This is what we have. These aren't border towns. New York City is not a border town. So this is affecting the entire country.
Yep.
And look at the brief amount of time that it took to get our nation to this point. Okay. But you've got the world over in the Western nations, you've got a bunch of either masculine women or effeminate men like Justin Trudeau and Macron, okay, both sashaying and shantying around the Champs-Élysées. These are the people that are leading these Western countries now, okay, straight into oblivion. And China and Russia and these Middle Eastern countries are looking at this and they're saying, wow, okay, wow. China banned effeminate men from their television airwaves. Okay,
so
they did this.
How do they categorize effeminate?
Whatever she doesn't
Whatever
like.
they use.
That don't like it. Get him off of there. Okay. Basically.
Yeah.
Whatever they use, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying that the UK and Germany are having this problem of the increase in stabbings, and look at their, I guess, immigration and or illegal immigration, if there's such a thing, considered those countries. But look at their immigration numbers. These populations, countries are afraid, literally afraid, to mandate that people coming into their countries have to assimilate to that country. They're taking over really parts of the UK, Germany, other countries where these immigrants, and I'm going to say illegal immigrants, but I don't know their legal, their immigration laws, but these immigrants are forming their own countries, if you will, their own cities and towns, such that the people in those countries, the natural born citizens of those countries, are afraid to even walk, if you will, through their own cities and towns.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have millions of people crossing the border and doing this. And it's just a backdrop to how this can add to fraud during our upcoming election. Look at what Virginia is doing. So Governor Youngkin in Virginia just issued an executive order on election security, updating voter lists and ensuring accurate counting of ballots. He found close to 80,000 dead voters from the state of Virginia's voter rolls last year. He removed them. He also found more than 6,000 non-citizens from Virginia's voter rolls. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of fraud.
A lot of people. And look, across the country, and I know here in Maryland, dead people certainly are supposed to come off the rolls. And this is an area that I'm going to say, both parties are supposed to be invited to, because you have the, both parties, you want the neutrality and the transparency to come and make sure that the rolls are cleaned up and accurate. I don't know how frequently it goes on, but I can tell you it doesn't go on frequently enough. And it's not supposed to be that way. So then every year you have people who have either moved or who are dead, don't vote anymore, on the rolls, which pads the rolls. They can send out ballots. They can just send them out. And people don't even have to ask for them. They can just send them out.
Yeah, they don't. I know here in Maryland, I've always went to the polls. I may do it differently this year, but I like to go to the poll on election day and vote. Yeah. But I didn't ask for a mail-in ballot. They sent me one the last 2 years, the last two elections. They've sent me a mail-in ballot that I didn't ask for.
Yep. I like going to the polls. Sometimes I go during early voting, but I like to go actually to the physical poll, and I like to go because I like to antagonize the poll workers sometimes. But I'll make sure I wear certain gear.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, well, we're at the end of our time tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do want to end off with this. With what RFK Jr. posted, I think it was yesterday, about what MAGA really means. He said the phrase has troubled liberals who think it is a call for a return to an America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. But I have a more generous interpretation, one that is true to my experience of Donald Trump as he is today. Make America Great Again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with the hope and belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, in freedom, justice, and democracy. It was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology. And it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with his inner circle. I have talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore.
Exactly.
What a great statement that he made there. It was the perfect depiction of MAGA, I believe, and not what many other people try to say it is.
Right.
Yeah, I want to get final thoughts on that.
Yeah, it was the absolute. Go ahead, Tyrone. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just agree. I've said since he announced his candidacy, if I woke up the day after Election Day and Robert F. Kennedy was president, I wouldn't be chagrined about that. The man has encyclopedic knowledge about a great many subjects. He loves the country. Okay. Now, I don't agree with his Second Amendment stance. He's got to get a little stronger on that for my taste. But I'm also an adult who understands that I'm not going to agree with someone 100% of the time, which is the requirement over on the left. If you disagree on any one thing, you're out of there. So I think that his statement was right on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shelley, you were saying?
I said, I think it was a beautiful statement. It was a beautiful description. And but make no mistake, the left is going to believe and poo-poo it no matter what. We need to make sure that we play it up, if you will, that this is the definition or this is the description that we exude about MAGA, about what it means to make America great again. This is our country. We have a country to save. That's what is important. I don't care if RFK doesn't agree with me or I don't agree with him on ABC or whatever it may be. The fundamentals are important to me because I remember our president, when he was taking office, he said, quote, we are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. And that is what we are living under still under this, Where's Waldo administration.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. All right. I do want to, before I let you guys go, I do want to read our mailbag. We get such interesting emails from you all. I mean, not only great information that you guys provide, but also just uplifting, inspirational messages. Thank you all so much. I mean, we get so many. I can't read everything, but I do read them all, but I just can't read everything online. But we really appreciate everything you all send. I mean, so many people, just so many Bible believers, so many patriots, so many people, the immigrants that come here to the country, assimilated and love the country. I mean, just wonderful emails. And so I thank you guys so much. I do want to read this one tonight. All right. So here we are. This is from McKay. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. There it says, I live in London. I like your program. You are really educating people. Congrats. I have been following Trump since 2016, and I really love his policies because they're genuine and aligned with God's word. I am amazed to see in 21st century people still voting based on the color of the skin instead of the policies. It is sad to see that, and it is really a shame, especially Black people. I am also a Black guy with British nationality, but I really educate myself by doing research. If I was an American, I would vote for Trump because his policies that made America great again since 2016. I love you all.
Thank you, McKay.
Yes, thanks so much. Thank you. So we will be back on Wednesday live in the studio for you guys. So definitely stay tuned. 8 p.m. on Wednesday night. Don't forget to check out Soldiers of Finance with Tyrone right here on YouTube. Soldiers of Finance YouTube channel. That does it for us until
we
next
have one more
time.
super chatter.
Oh, we do?
Moochie's
mom.
we do.
Thank you,
Moochie's
mom. Oh, thank you so much, Moochie. Thank you. All right. Well, that does it for us. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.